Grant catches the photographer beside the coat room and slides a cream-colored sheet into her open contract folder. "This replaces the credits page," he says. Lena looks down. I look too. Creative director and family archivist, Paige Cole. My name is gone. Through the ballroom doors, Evelyn's voice floats over the microphone. 35 years teaches you that love is really about loyalty. Grant's mother raises her champagne glass while I stand in the foyer holding one of the programs I wrote, designed, paid to print, and have apparently been cut from. Lena turns back several pages in her folder. "This isn't what's listed on the release." "It was a family decision," Grant says. "The signed photo release requires Tessa's approval for changes to credits and captions." Grant glances at me as if I've arrived early to an argument we scheduled for later. Lena removes his sheet and hands it back. Then I reject the replacement credits. For one clean second, all I can hear is the coat room fan rattling above us. Then the ballroom answers Evelyn's toast with the clink of 100 glasses, and I wonder how long my fiancé has known I wouldn't be in the program. Grant folds the rejected page once, too sharply. "Can we not do this here?" I stare at him. "Where did you think we would do it?" "Tess." He says my name softly, his reasonable voice. Grant owns several voices. His best one makes cash flow problems sound temporary, and his mother's insults sound like weather. This is the voice he uses when he wants me to feel embarrassed for noticing what's happening. Lena closes her folder. She's dressed in black, 2 cameras crossing her body, silver curls pinned high on her head. She has the composed expression of a person who has photographed enough weddings to recognize a fire before anyone smells smoke. "I'm going inside," she says. "Under the existing agreement, I can keep shooting private portraits and event coverage. I won't deliver images for the publication package until the credit issue is resolved." "Resolved how?" Grant asks. "By my client." Her eyes move to me. Grant's jaw shifts. "My mother is paying for the album." "Your mother is reimbursing Tessa's company for the album," Lena says. "Eventually, I hope." I would laugh if my throat weren't closing. Lena gives my arm one brief squeeze, professional enough that Grant can't accuse her of taking sides, then disappears through the ballroom doors. On the other side, Evelyn has moved from loyalty to sacrifice. "Martin has given me the gift of letting me be right," she says into the microphone. That gets a laugh. Martin's laugh comes through warmest, a low bark I've heard across Sunday dinners and hardware store aisles. He loves her wit, even when it lands on him, maybe especially then. Grant watches Lena thread between tables. "You called her your client," I say. "What?" "In the email yesterday, you said, 'My mother is your client, so please cooperate with any last-minute adjustments.'" Lena copied me. He rubs a hand over the back of his neck. "It was shorthand." "No, shorthand would have been Mom." A couple approaches from the parking lot, and Grant steps aside to hold the door. He smiles before they even recognize him. "Tom, Darlene, you made it." "Wouldn't miss it." Darlene pats his lapel, then spots me. "And there's our genius. These photographs are extraordinary." Grant's hand settles at the small of my back. "Paige has done an amazing job," he says. The foyer tilts, not dramatically, just enough that the glass frame I'm holding presses harder against my palms. Darlene blinks. "Paige?" "The family archive," Grant says. "She's been overseeing it." I turn my face toward him. Darlene looks between us, senses something expensive breaking, and pulls Tom toward the ballroom. "We'll catch up later." Grant waits until they're out of earshot. I panicked. "You corrected her." "I was trying to keep the story straight." "Which story?" He lowers his voice. "Mom had the programs reprinted. People have already seen them. What do you want me to do? Announce a correction during the toast? I want to know why your sister's name is on my work. It isn't your work. I mean, it is, obviously, but the photographs belong to my family." The frame in my hands contains Evelyn and Martin's first apartment. Evelyn is sitting on a radiator in flared jeans, holding a glass of wine. Martin is kneeling in front of a cardboard box wearing a tie and no shoes. I I spent 40 minutes repairing a crease that ran through his face. The photograph belongs to them. The restored file belongs to my studio. The captions are my writing. The interviews are my recordings. The exhibit exists because I built it. Grant knows all of that. He watched me do it 6 feet from where he ate dinner. "When did you find out?" I ask. He checks the ballroom doors. "When, Grant?" "Tuesday." It's Saturday. Tuesday night, he brought home Thai food and rubbed my shoulders while I finished mounting the last captions. Wednesday, he borrowed my paper cutter to trim the table cards. Thursday, he told me his mother was finally seeing me as part of the family. Yesterday, he asked me to steam his suit. "Mom thought it looked inappropriate," he says, "your name being so prominent." My name was 8-point type. "You had a full credit." So did Lena. "She's a vendor." The word lands between us before he can retrieve it. And what am I? He flinches. It would be easier if he didn't. Grant is never cruel with his whole chest. He hurts people and then looks wounded by the blood. "You're my future wife." That wasn't one of the credits. "Can we please go inside? We're missing dinner." I look at the program again. The cover is an old photograph of Evelyn and Martin walking out of City Hall, her veil blowing sideways across Martin's face. I'd chosen it because it made Evelyn laugh. Along the bottom, in the green she approved after rejecting 6 other greens, are the words, "35 years, still choosing each other." My thumb covers choosing. "I need to put this frame back," I say. I carry it to the exhibit wall. The country club calls it the conservatory, though nothing grows there except 3 dusty palms and a reputation for expensive brunch. One side is all windows, black now with the October night. The glass frames sit on narrow ledges beneath strings of warm lights. In daylight, the display had looked airy. At night, every photograph floats inside a reflection of the room. I set the apartment picture between their first restaurant lease and a road trip photograph from the year they nearly divorced. That one had been Martin's idea. "Put it in," he told me during our interview. A good anniversary shouldn't look like we never had anywhere else to be. Evelyn had rolled her eyes, but she didn't remove it. Now my own reflection covers half the caption. Grant stays behind me. "I was going to tell you after tonight." After I saw the programs, I thought Mom might change her mind. "You handed Lena a replacement page because Mom didn't change her mind. And you did?" His silence is small, almost polite. From inside the ballroom, Paige begins her toast. "Mom taught me that the women in this family don't wait for permission." Grant closes his eyes. Despite everything, a laugh escapes me. He looks offended. "What?" "Nothing. The timing is just incredible. Tessa, Paige doesn't even know. She thinks she curated this by accident. She knows Mom added her name. She doesn't know you were removed." That's a fascinating sentence. It happened fast. It happened Tuesday. He takes my elbow as a server passes with a tray of empty champagne flutes. I pull away, and the nearest frames tremble against the ledge. Grant immediately steadies them. That's him, too. He can ignore a crack in our life while carefully preventing a rental frame from falling. "Please," he says, "just get through dinner. I'll make Mom fix it afterward." "Fix what?" "The programs are already printed. We can credit you in the album." "The album Lena won't release under false credits?" His mouth tightens. "Which is why I need you to tell her it's okay." There it is, not an apology, a task. Inside, Paige finishes to applause. Grant holds out his hand as though we're about to enter a dance floor. I walk past it. The ballroom smells like roast beef, lilies, and the vanilla perfume Evelyn reapplies after every second glass of wine. Gold napkins fan out of water glasses. At the head table, my empty chair waits between Grant and Paige. Evelyn sees me and smiles with all her teeth. There she is. Martin stands halfway, reaching for the champagne bottle. We were about to send a search party. "Grant found me," I say. I usually do. Grant pulls out my chair. Paige leans over to kiss my cheek. She is 40. glamorous in a careless way that requires regular appointments and wearing an emerald dress close to the color I spent 2 weeks matching in the programs. "The wall looks gorgeous," she says. "Mom says we're archive twins now." I sit down slowly. Does she? Paige picks up her program. I told her family archivist makes me sound like I haunt a library, but she was so excited. Evelyn reaches across Martin to touch my wrist. "Tessa, don't look so serious. Everything is beautiful." The program beside her plate is open to the credits page. I look at her hand on mine. Her anniversary ring flashes under the chandelier, 3 square diamonds in a white gold band. I drove her to pick it up because Martin had forgotten the jeweler closed early on Fridays. "You changed the program," I say. Paige stops unfolding her napkin. Evelyn's fingers remain on my wrist. I adjusted it. "You removed my name." A server sets salad in front of Martin and retreats with the speed of a man who recognizes danger as part of the gratuity. Evelyn sighs. "Not tonight." "You were the one who changed it for tonight." Grant slides into his chair. "We're going to talk about this later." Paige turns to him. "What does she mean, removed?" "It was too much business language," Evelyn says. "This is a family celebration, not a trade show. I wanted the credits to reflect the family." "I designed the program," I say. "I restored the photographs. I produced the exhibit." "And we are deeply grateful." "You put Paige's name on it." Paige looks down at the page as if it might have changed while she was speaking. "Mom said Tessa was listed under production." Evelyn lifts her wine. "There wasn't room for everyone." There's a blank inch beneath Paige's name. Martin studies it. Grant takes a long drink of water. "I should leave." The thought arrives cleanly. My coat is 20 feet away. My car is in the second row. I could be home before the entrees, unpinning my hair over the bathroom sink. Then I notice the glass frame positioned on the gift table, our engagement photograph. I hadn't put it there. It normally sits inside our townhouse beside the front door where I drop my keys every evening. Grant must have brought it while I was installing the exhibit. In the picture, we're on the courthouse steps after one of Paige's friends got married. Grant is looking at me instead of the camera. I used to love that. It seemed like evidence. Now the frame holds both the photograph and a little card in Evelyn's handwriting. Next year, another Cole wedding. She has erased my name from her history and displayed my future as part of hers. Martin closes the program. "Ev," he says, quiet enough that the table goes still, "put Tessa's credit back in the album." Evelyn looks at him, surprised. It is a small thing, barely a defense, and gratitude rises in me so fast it feels humiliating. Grant exhales. "That's what I said." "No," I tell him. "It isn't." Paige's eyes move from him to me. Evelyn's smile returns, thinner now. "Of course we'll discuss the album. After dinner." "The photographer already discussed it," Grant says. "She won't release the publication photographs unless Tessa approves the new credits." His mother's face changes. Only for a moment, a slight stillness around the mouth. Then she looks at me with a new kind of attention, not annoyance, not condescension, calculation. "You signed something?" she asks. "I signed the contract," I say. "All of you signed the release." Evelyn sets down her glass. Across the room, Lena lifts her camera and takes our picture. The flash hit Evelyn's face first. She blinked, then turned toward Lena with a smile so automatic it was almost athletic. "Beautiful," Lena said. "Everyone closer together, please." Martin leaned toward his wife. Paige leaned toward me. Grant put his arm across the back of my chair without touching my shoulders. From the other side of the camera, we must have looked like a family with one complicated seating arrangement. "Hold it," Lena said. I looked straight into the lens. After the flash, Evelyn reached for her wine again. "May I see the release?" "It's in Lena's folder." I meant later, then later. The salad sat untouched between us. Mine had goat cheese, which I had told the club Evelyn hated. Evelyn was eating around it with small, punitive stabs. Paige lowered her voice. "Why is Tessa's approval on our photo release?" Because her company hired the photographer, Grant said. My company hired the photographer because your mother wanted someone booked before Easter. That sounds reasonable, Martin said. Evelyn gave him a look. I said it sounds reasonable. I didn't say anything about the goat cheese. He picked a piece from Evelyn's plate and ate it. Under any other circumstances, I would have enjoyed that. Paige turned her program sideways, inspecting the credits as if there might be fine print hidden in the border. What exactly did you take out? Can we eat? Grant asked. I'm asking Mom. Evelyn's knife touched the edge of her plate. Tessa had given herself several titles. 2, I said. Producer and archive curator, which sounded territorial. It described the work. It made our family celebration sound like something your studio owned. I didn't put my logo on anything. You invoiced me. I invoiced you for the photographer, printing, and rentals. I waived my own time. Martin stopped chewing. Evelyn gave a little laugh. That was your gift to us. Yes. Then why are we itemizing it at dinner? I looked at Grant. He was smoothing the folded edge of his napkin with his thumbnail, the same way he pressed labels onto catering boxes. He had told me Evelyn would be uncomfortable if my hours appeared on the estimate. She would think I was treating family like a client. So I had removed 76 hours from the invoice and called the work our anniversary gift. Our gift. I wondered whether he had said that part when he approved the reprint. A man at the next table tapped his wine glass, calling for attention. He had known Martin since their first restaurant and began a story about a broken freezer, a borrowed van, and $600 worth of melting shrimp. The room turned toward him. Evelyn used the cover of laughter to lean across Martin. This release issue needs to be corrected tonight. It doesn't need to be corrected, I said. The credits do. We can add a thank you. A thank you for what? Her eyes sharpened. For helping. Paige whispered, Mom. But Evelyn was still looking at me. She had a way of reducing any conflict to manners. If I objected, I was making a scene. If I stayed quiet, she was right. If I helped, I was family. If I asked to be named, I was a vendor. Grant leaned close enough that I could smell the cedar aftershave I had bought him. Just approve the delivery. We'll sort out wording tomorrow. You mean after she has the photographs? It gives everyone room to calm down. No, it gives your mother what she wants. She already has what she wants. The programs are printed. I turned my head toward him. That's an interesting argument from the person who paid to print them again. His eyes flicked toward his mother. It was all the answer I needed. You used our card? I put it on my business card. Your business card is paid from our household account. It was $186. The amount was worse than if it had been $1,000. It was ordinary. Less than our electric bill, more than dinner, exactly the kind of charge you could hide between a linen order and gasoline and then act insulted when someone found it. You spent our money to remove my name. I said I'd pay it back. You didn't say anything. The speech about the shrimp ended in applause. Grant joined in late, clapping twice after everyone else had stopped. The entrees came. Roast beef for most of the room, mushroom risotto for Paige, salmon for me. I had chosen every plate in July, sitting beside Evelyn at the club while she told the coordinator that Martin considered mushrooms theater food. Now Evelyn cut into her beef as if the conversation were over. Martin waited until the servers had moved away. Tessa, he said, the wall by the windows, that picture from the trip to Maine. What year was it? 2009. Paige looked relieved to be discussing anything else. That was the anniversary trip, right? No, I said. It was the 10th anniversary, she said. I remember Mom telling me. Martin shook his head. 14th, and it wasn't an anniversary trip. Evelyn's fork paused. Martin smiled at me. Why did you include it? I knew what he was doing. It was kind and not entirely kind. Kindness in that family often came with an audience, because you told me it was the weekend you nearly separated. The conversation at our end of the table thinned. Martin nodded. We drove 6 hours without speaking. Then the radiator hose split outside Bangor, and your mother had to hold a flashlight while I patched it with tape. I held an umbrella, Evelyn said. You held it over yourself. It was cashmere. Paige laughed. That's actually very on brand. Martin pointed his knife toward the exhibit. The caption says, we had every reason to keep driving in opposite directions, but fixing one small thing together got us home. That's pretty, Paige said. Tessa wrote it. Her smile faded. Martin cut another piece of beef. Worth knowing who did what. Evelyn stared at his plate. Are you trying to make a point? I'm eating dinner. You're never just eating dinner. That's why I'm still interesting. The laugh that moved around our table was uncertain, but it was real. Evelyn almost smiled. That was the infuriating thing about them. They could be mean, affectionate, strategic, and funny in the same 30 seconds. Their marriage had survived because neither of them required innocence from the other. Grant squeezed my knee beneath the table, as though Martin's intervention had solved something. I moved my leg away. After dinner, Lena began gathering the formal portraits, Evelyn and Martin by the cake, Evelyn with her cousins, Martin with former business partners. Paige was good at organizing people and soon had 3 groups waiting in sensible rows. I stood near the ballroom entrance checking the printed shot list on my phone. Grant approached Lena with a marked-up copy. We need the family group moved in front of the archive, he said, and Mom wants pictures of Paige walking everyone through the exhibit. Lena studied the page. These are new. They're substitutions. For what? The producer portraits and the detail sequence. The producer portrait was supposed to be me with Evelyn and Martin beside the completed exhibit. I had tried to remove it from the original list because it felt self-important. Evelyn had insisted. At the time, she said I deserved to be remembered with my work. Lena drew a line through Grant's additions. I'm following the approved shot list. Grant's smile tightened. It's our event. And Tessa is my client. We've already had this conversation. You have. I've been taking photographs. The venue coordinator, Elise, was standing beside them with a headset pressed to one ear. She looked down at the page. Is the conservatory setup changing? She asked. No, Grant said. Yes, Lena said. They're attempting to change the publication coverage and credits. Elise's gaze moved to me. Do you approve? Every person nearby seemed to find a reason to study a centerpiece. I could have said no from across the room. Instead, I walked over. Take the family groups on the original list, I told Lena. Skip my producer portrait. Keep the exhibit details. Evelyn had come up behind us. Why skip your picture? I turned. Her expression was open, almost injured. She wanted me to say it aloud. She wanted refusal to look like spite and compliance to look like surrender. Because I don't want to stand beside work you've credited to someone else. Elise became fascinated by her headset. Evelyn pressed her lips together. Fine. Mom, Paige said, I don't need pictures pretending to give a tour. It isn't pretending. You can give one. I haven't seen half of these pictures before tonight. You know the family. That is apparently not the same as knowing the archive. Martin coughed into his fist, badly concealing a laugh. Evelyn turned on him. You're enjoying this. Only Paige. Paige slipped her arm through Martin's. Come on, Dad. Former business partners. I'll organize. Tessa can tell us which bankrupt one goes where. There were only 2 bankrupt ones, Martin said as she pulled him away, and one recovered. The pressure in my chest loosened for half a breath. Then Evelyn stepped closer. You've made your point. I didn't change the program. You embarrassed Grant. He lied to me. He tried to protect his family. From my name? From conflict. Her voice softened. You don't understand how much strain he is under. There was always strain. The catering company needed a new refrigerator. A client was late paying. His lease was up for renewal. His mother expected Sunday dinner. The wedding venue required another deposit. Grant lived under strain the way some people live near train tracks. After a while, everyone else was expected to stop hearing it. Evelyn touched the diamond at her throat. He needs people who make his life easier, Tessa. I have made his life very easy. Something in my voice made her blink. She recovered. Marriage isn't an invoice. No, but invoices are still invoices. I left her beneath the chandelier and went to help Lena photograph the exhibit details. At 11, after the cake had been cut and the band had played Evelyn and Martin's song twice because Martin missed the first cue, we loaded the frames into my van. Grant carried 2 cases at a time, working with the furious efficiency he usually reserved for teardown after a difficult client. He didn't speak until we were alone in the parking lot. You let Lena humiliate me in front of Elise. I answered a question. She talked to me like I was trying to steal photographs. You were trying to remove me from them. They're my family's photographs. And Lena's photographs belong to Lena. The edited files are licensed under the contract. We went over this when you asked whether your mother could put them on mugs. That was a joke. She'd already priced the mugs. He shoved the last case into the van, glass chimed inside. Careful. I know how to load a box. Those frames belong to my studio. He stepped back as if I had slapped his hand. For 6 years, the distinction between mine and his had been something we celebrated when it benefited him. My van moved his equipment. My studio stored his chafing dishes. My software sent his invoices. My credit covered the month his biggest client paid 60 days late. But the moment my name appeared beside work, ownership became vulgar. Grant closed the van doors. Are you coming home? Eventually. What does that mean? It means I have to unload. I'll help. No. He stared at me. His anger drained so quickly that fear showed underneath it. Tess, don't turn this into something it isn't. I rested my hand on the van key. What is it? My mother got controlling about a program. I handled it badly. You joined her. I was trying to get everyone through one night. You had 4 days to tell me. I knew you'd react like this. The sentence hung there. Grant's face changed when he heard it. That came out wrong. No, it came out complete. I got into the van. He knocked once on the window before I started the engine. I lowered it 3 inches. Please come home, he said. We'll talk without my family standing around. I looked past him through the country club windows. Staff were stripping linens from tables. Evelyn stood in the conservatory with the anniversary program rolled in one hand while Martin read one of my captions. I'll come home when I'm done. It took 40 minutes to drive to my studio, unload 8 padded cases, and check every frame for damage. I worked in silence beneath the fluorescent lights. The engagement photograph was in the final case. Evelyn's handwritten card still hung from its corner. Next year, another Cole wedding. I didn't remember packing it. I set it on my desk rather than with the rentals. In the photograph, Grant was turned toward me, smiling at something I had forgotten saying. His left hand rested over mine. The glass held a faint oval print from somebody's thumb. My phone buzzed. A text from Grant. I love you. I screwed up. Come home. Then Paige. I truly did not know. Mom told me you asked to stay behind the scenes. Then Evelyn. We all behaved emotionally. Please release the pictures so this doesn't become larger than it needs to be. Martin sent nothing. I sat in my desk chair and opened the anniversary invoice. The reimbursement from Evelyn was 31 days late. Not enormous. Printing, frame rental, Lena's deposit, delivery, paper stock. But enough that I had carried it through a slow month. Beneath that file were 3 of Grant's unpaid catering invoices waiting for me to send reminders Monday morning. I closed them. At home, the downstairs light was on. Grant sat at the dining table with 2 mugs of tea, though mine had gone cold. He looked exhausted. I'm sorry, he said before I put down my keys. I took off my coat. Tell me what you're sorry for. For not telling you, for letting Mom change it, for saying those photographs weren't your work, and for giving Lena the new credits. I thought if the album included the correction, the program wouldn't matter. You were still handing her Paige's name. He rubbed both hands over his face. Mom said she wouldn't reimburse the event unless the credits were changed. That stopped me. You told me she mailed the check. I thought she would. So you chose my name because you needed her money. I chose to keep a stupid credit line from blowing up the entire weekend. And the check, I'll cover it. With what? His hands dropped. There it was again. The household account, my credit, an upcoming catering payment I would have to chase. I went to the ceramic bowl beside the door and removed my studio keys from the ring. What are you doing? Separating keys. Tessa. The studio can't keep storing your inventory under my insurance. Your chafing dishes, the portable ovens, the beverage tubs, you need to move them. He stood. Because of tonight? Because I finally heard what you think my work is worth. That's not fair. No, it's accounting. I removed the small brass key to Evelyn's house, then looked at the identical one beside it. Ours. The spare I had given Evelyn after she promised it was only for emergencies. Your mother's key, I said. I want it back. Grant stared at the key in my palm. She feeds the cat when we travel. We can hire someone. She'll take that personally. I know. His eyes moved from the key to my face, and fear returned. Not because I might leave, not yet, but because for the first time keeping his mother comfortable would require something from him. I'll talk to her, he said. No, you'll get the key. My laptop chimed on the dining table. A new login notification glowed on the screen. Someone had just opened the anniversary design folder using our shared household password. I turned the laptop toward Grant. The notification showed his email address, the time, and the name of the folder, Cole Anniversary Final Archive. He didn't pretend not to understand. Mom wants to get started on the album. So you gave her our password? I downloaded the layouts for her. You just told me we could correct the credit. We can. But she needs the files either way, the files I created. He leaned both hands on the table. They're scans of her photographs. The original scans are in the family folder I gave her. You opened my edited layouts. She paid for them. She hasn't paid me anything. I said I'll cover it. And I asked with what? He looked away. I changed the password while he watched. Then I opened the storage settings and signed out every active device except my laptop and phone. Grant laughed once, without humor. Very mature. You accessed my business files after I told you I wasn't approving the change. I accessed a folder we've both used for months, for the wedding seating chart and utility bills, not my client files. Your client is my mother. 5 hours ago, she was your family, and I was the vendor. Please pick a structure. His mouth twitched. He almost smiled. It was the kind of line he normally loved when it wasn't aimed at him. Tess, I'm exhausted. So am I. He reached for my hand. I moved the laptop between us to stand. Where are you going? To bed. What about us? We'll still be in the house in the morning. It wasn't reassurance, but he accepted it like one. He slept beside me with his back turned, breathing too evenly. I watched the headlights from passing cars travel across the ceiling. Each one caught the glass engagement frame on the dresser where I'd put it after bringing it home from the studio. For a moment, our faces appeared. Then they disappeared. By 8, Grant was gone. A note waited beside the coffee maker. Getting your key. Please don't make any other decisions until I'm back. The wording made me pour coffee before I trusted myself to answer. I called my insurance agent. Grant's catering equipment had been listed as incidental stored property under my studio policy for almost a year. Removing it required a form, photographs of the storage area after pickup, and written confirmation that he'd taken possession. Nothing dramatic, nothing satisfying, just 3 emails and a deadline of Friday. I sent Grant the instructions. Then I opened our household account and added up 6 months of transfers. His share arrived in irregular amounts labeled, "Rent Sorry Big Job." Finally, and one memorable, "Please don't kill me." Mine arrived automatically on the 1st. The event reprint sat between a charge for gasoline and a wholesale order of compostable plates. I transferred my half of the current expenses to a new checking account and changed the auto pay on my phone, car insurance, and studio internet. I left enough in the household account to cover the rent and utilities through the end of the month. The wedding account was harder. We had saved for 19 months. Grant's deposits were smaller, but real. I could remember what each one had cost him. A weekend festival in the rain, a corporate breakfast that began at 4 in the morning, a holiday party where someone dropped an entire tray of red wine beside the dessert station. I didn't touch his money. I moved my contributions and printed the transaction record. Then I sat at the dining table staring at the confirmation until the coffee went cold. The venue deposit was due in 12 days. When Grant came back, he dropped Evelyn's key into the ceramic bowl. It made one bright sound against the coins. "She cried," he said. "I'm sorry." "No, you're not. I'm sorry it hurt her. I still wanted the key." "She says you're punishing her for the program. I'm ending access she hasn't respected." She watered the plants. She rearranged our bedroom while she was here. She folded laundry. She went through my closet and put 3 dresses in a donation bag. Grant took off his jacket. She thought they were old. She wore one to Paige's birthday dinner. He closed his eyes. "That can't be true. It's in the photograph on your phone." He sank into a chair, and I saw the exact moment he remembered the blue wrap dress Evelyn had called vintage. "Okay," he said weakly. "That was bad." It was such an insufficient sentence that I began to laugh. Grant stared at me, then laughed too. For half a minute, we were ourselves again, 2 people at a table, helpless before the absurdity of his mother stealing a dress and wearing it in front of me. Then he said, "She probably thought you'd given it to her." The laughter left. "You always do that." "Do what?" "Put a cushion under the truth so your mother won't bruise herself on it." I said it was bad, and then you made it my failure to communicate. I'm trying to understand both sides. There aren't 2 sides to someone taking clothes out of my closet. He stood abruptly. "I have a delivery. Your equipment needs to be out of my studio by Friday." I saw the email, and I separated the wedding account. He froze with one arm in his jacket. "What does that mean?" "My contributions are in my account. Yours are still there." "You canceled the wedding?" "No." "But you're threatening to." "I'm refusing to use a wedding deadline to pretend this is resolved." He pulled his arm free and let the jacket fall onto the chair. "You can't make a decision like that alone." "I made a decision about my money. Our money. That was not your position last night when you spent it on the programs." He paced to the sink and back. "We lose the venue if the deposit isn't paid." "I know. You love that place." "I know. We've been waiting a year." "I know, Grant." He looked at me as if I were the person taking it away from us. By Tuesday, Evelyn's anniversary had acquired a new story. I learned this at my studio when Darlene appeared carrying a borrowed glass frame and a bakery box. "I brought back the one from our table," she said. "And lemon bars. Tom's pretending not to eat sugar, so please save my marriage." I took the frame. "Thank you." She didn't let go immediately. "Evelyn says there's a dispute about the photographs. There's a false credit on the publication package. She made it sound like you were holding the family archive." "She has the archive. Lena is holding her own photographs until the release matches the credits. Darlene released the frame. Grant told Tom it was being worked out. I'm sure he did. She also said you left before the cake." "I loaded the exhibit after the cake." Darlene's face changed. She had repeated one detail too many and knew it. "I shouldn't be in this." "No." But Evelyn asked people to send her their phone pictures. She hired someone to make an album. The lemon bars smelled warm through the cardboard. Then she has what she needs. Darlene looked relieved by my answer and disappointed by it too. Conflict is easier to enjoy when everyone performs their assigned part. At the door, she turned back. For what it's worth, the captions were the best thing there. After she left, I photographed the returned frame, inspected the corners, and added it to inventory. The compliment warmed me until I hated that it did. Grant moved his equipment Thursday evening. He brought 2 employees and a rented truck. I stayed in the office while metal pans clanged through the hallway. After the last portable oven went out, he appeared in my doorway. "You could have helped label the boxes." "They're your boxes. You know which cords go with the warmers. So do you." "Apparently I don't." "That sounds expensive." He leaned against the frame. "Is this fun for you?" "No. I can't tell. I've been sending your invoices, insuring your equipment, storing it, tracking supplies, and reminding you which cords go where. You thought those things happened because we were a team. I'm finding out whether they happened because I was the team." "That's a great speech." "It's not a speech. You have a client invoice due tomorrow." His face emptied. "Which client?" I told him. He swore and pulled out his phone. I could have reminded him Monday. The email had been flagged in the folder I used to manage his receivables. I had seen it and left it there. The guilt arrived before the satisfaction and stayed longer. That night, Martin called. He asked whether I had eaten, complained about Evelyn's substitute photographer, and spent several minutes describing a man who used the word content as a verb. Then his voice grew careful. "Is a credit worth your marriage?" I sat on the edge of the bed. The engagement photograph faced me from the dresser. No. Well, good. But Grant believing he can trade my name for his mother's comfort might be. Martin was quiet. "You know how she gets," he said. "So does Grant." He was raised inside it. He's 42. I'm not excusing him. You're asking me to. He sighed. I'm asking whether there's a way to let us have the photographs without everybody losing their minds. Yes, correct the credits. She feels that makes Paige look foolish. Paige didn't do the work. You're not wrong. It was an agreement. In that family, "you're not wrong" meant I will not spend my own comfort defending you. Did you know Evelyn withheld reimbursement? Another silence. She told me the invoice was under review. It was under leverage. I'll write you a check. No. Tessa, if you pay it without her acknowledging the invoice, she'll learn that making you clean up after her works. A low chuckle escaped him. You have met us. I have. When we hung up, I turned the engagement frame face down. The next morning, Lena forwarded me an email from Grant. He had offered to pay an additional rush fee for release of the anniversary gallery. He wrote that the credit dispute was a domestic misunderstanding and that, as my future husband and Evelyn's representative, he authorized Lena to use the revised page. Below it, Lena had added one sentence. I assume your future husband does not currently hold an officer position in Hale Event Studio. My hands went cold. Grant answered on the fourth ring. What did you tell Lena? He exhaled. I was trying another solution. You told her you could authorize my contract. I said I represented the family. You said being my future husband gave you authority. I worded it badly. You keep wording your beliefs badly. Tess, Mom has already sent a preview of the anniversary story to the Society magazine. They need photographs. Monday. That's not my problem. It becomes my problem when she pulls out of the kitchen investment. The kitchen investment, $30,000 toward the commercial prep space he had been pricing for months. I sat very still. She tied your business money to erasing me. She tied it to getting the anniversary package finished, under Paige's name. She thinks family work should stay in the family. And you agree whenever $30,000 is attached. That is not fair. You tried to sign for me. I tried to stop this from destroying everything. A knock sounded at my studio door. Paige stood outside holding a silver external drive and a blue wrap dress on a hanger. I have to go, I said. You always leave when it gets hard. No, Grant. I'm still standing exactly where you left me. I ended the call and opened the door. Paige held up the dress. Mom says this is yours. She also says it was mixed in with donations, which is impressive because I found it in her cedar closet. I stepped aside. She placed the silver drive on my desk. What is that? The copy Grant gave Mom. My draft layouts, restored images, captions, printer files. Paige sat across from me and rubbed both palms over her knees. The printer called me yesterday, she said. He wanted the original font licenses, color profiles, citation notes, and your high-resolution restoration files. Mom told him I created everything. I waited. Paige looked toward the cases of glass frames lined against the wall. I thought she was giving me credit because she was proud of me. Her laugh sounded scraped raw. Then she handed me 76 hours of your work and expected me to become you by Monday. She told you 76? It was in Grant's message to her. The room went very quiet. Paige pushed the drive closer to me. There's something else on it, she said. A voicemail Grant left Mom Tuesday night before the programs were reprinted. I looked at the silver drive between us. What did he say? Paige met my eyes. He told her you'd forgive him because you always wanted the wedding more than you wanted to be right. I didn't play it immediately. Paige watched me turn the drive once between my fingers. Do you want to hear it? She asked. No. Her eyebrows lifted. I believe you. I'm not sure I would. I've heard him say it without saying it. She looked down at the blue dress draped over the chair. Mom does that, too. She decides what you'll tolerate, then calls it knowing you. You believed her about the program. I wanted to. The honesty of that surprised me more than an apology would have. Paige stood and walked to the shelves where the empty glass frames waited in padded rows. When I was getting divorced, she told everyone I needed space. What I needed was someone to sit in my apartment and stop me from calling him. But space sounded more dignified, and Mom likes our pain dignified. I'm sorry. So was she. Beautifully. From across town. She turned around. I'm not asking you to forgive me. I liked seeing my name there for about 10 minutes. It felt good before it felt weird. Thank you for returning the files. I deleted Mom's copy. She may have another. She does. Grant emailed her a compressed folder, but this has your working files. I slid the drive into my desk drawer. Are you going to listen? Eventually. Don't do it alone. After she left, I worked for 20 minutes, answered no emails, and listened alone. Grant's voice came through compressed and intimate, the way people sound when they leave messages they expect to disappear. Mom, just reprint it. Tessa will be angry, but she'll forgive me. She always wants to fix things, and honestly, she wants the wedding more than she wants to be right. I'll handle her after the party. Just make sure Paige knows what to say if anyone asks. There was a pause, then the muffled sound of his turn signal. Also, don't send the new page to Lena. I'll give it to her there. He had planned even my discovery, not the change, the moment I would learn, the witnesses around me, the dress already on my body, the exhibit already installed, our engagement photograph already displayed by the door. He had built a room in which leaving would cost me enough that staying seemed easier. I forwarded the voicemail to myself, then closed the drawer. Grant came to the studio at 6. He had called 11 times. On the 12th, I answered and told him where I was. He stood just inside the door, breathing hard. Paige took Mom's drive. Yes, she had no right. She returned my files. I'm not talking about the files. The voicemail. His face told me he knew every word. Mom shouldn't have saved that. That's your concern? It was a private conversation. So was our engagement. Tessa. He stepped toward me, and I held up one hand. Did you tell your mother I wanted the wedding more than I wanted to be right? I was trying to calm her down. Did you believe it? No. The answer came too fast. Grant. He looked at the concrete floor. I believed you'd understand what was at stake. My work? Everything. The anniversary. Her investment. Our wedding. The family. I'm last in that sentence. You're in all of it. That isn't the same as being protected by any of it. His eyes reddened. Grant hated crying and often became angry when he was close. What do you want me to say? The truth before it becomes useful. I made a terrible decision. Several. I'll tell Mom to correct every credit. I'll tell Lena myself. You already told Lena you could authorize my contract. I was desperate. For the kitchen money. For our life. Your kitchen is not our life. It was supposed to support us. I have been supporting it. He walked past me, then back, too full of motion to stay in one place. Do you know how humiliating it is to need your help every month? Do you know how humiliating it is to give that help and then be erased because your mother might reimburse me? I didn't erase you. You carried the page. That stopped him. He sat on the edge of a frame case, then immediately stood when he realized what it was. I love you, he said. I know. Then why does that sound like it doesn't matter? Because love is not the question anymore. His mouth tightened. What is? What does being your wife protect? He didn't answer. The venue deadline passed on Thursday. I called the coordinator myself. We lost part of the deposit. The remainder went back to the account in the same proportions we had contributed. Grant did not come home that night. On Friday morning, the jeweler's receipt for my ring appeared beside the ceramic bowl. He had left it there as if I might need proof of where it came from. I still wore the ring. Taking it off felt too much like making a decision, and leaving it on had stopped feeling like one. Sunday afternoon, Martin called. Your photograph is in a book, he said. What photograph? The engagement one. Ev put together this album with that fellow who says he creates content. She's having everybody over at 4. I don't think I should come. She also has a release printed beside the cheese plate. I closed my eyes. What does it say? That you approve the new credits and waive claims on the album. I'm paraphrasing. There's mustard near the legal part. I'm not signing it, I assumed. Then why invite me? Because Grant is here, and they're making decisions about your life in a room you're not in. I looked at the engagement frame, still face down on my dresser. I'll be there at 4. Evelyn opened the door wearing my blue dress. For one astonishing second, neither of us spoke. Then she looked down. Paige returned this. She returned it to me. I found it in the front hall. It was on a hanger. Evelyn pressed her lips together and stepped aside. We are not beginning with a dress. No, we began with a program. The album lay open on the coffee table. It was large, glossy, and wrong in a dozen immediate ways. A photograph from the anniversary had been stretched across 2 pages, bending Martin into the seam. Phone camera flash shone in the glass frames, turning half the restored portraits into white rectangles. The main photograph was labeled 20th Anniversary Trip. A photograph of Paige checking her lipstick near the exhibit had been captioned, Paige Cole, Family Archivist, reviewing the collection. My engagement portrait occupied the final page beneath the words, Next Year, Another Cole Wedding. Beside a platter of cheese sat the release. Martin handed me a glass of water. I moved the mustard, he said. Paige stood near the fireplace, arms folded. Grant was at the windows with his hands in his pockets. Evelyn touched the album's cover. It isn't what I wanted. It's what you credited, I said. Her expression hardened. I asked you here to finish this. You asked me here to sign away my work, to release family photographs. I told Lena she can deliver private portraits directly to the people in them. Everyone can have their pictures. What about the magazine? No, the album, not with false credits. Evelyn looked at Paige. Tell her you don't care about the credit. I already asked you to remove my name. Then we'll remove all names. That erases Tessa again, Paige said. You've known her 7 years and suddenly she's your cause. No, I just don't like being used as correction fluid. Martin coughed into his water. Evelyn turned to Grant. Would you please say something? He looked at me. Can we talk outside? We went into the glassed-in sunroom. Dead geraniums lined the windowsills. Evelyn always meant to replace them and never did. Grant shut the door behind us. I told Mom she has to correct it. She hasn't. She will if you release the gallery. So I give her what she wants first. She doesn't trust you." I looked through the glass at Evelyn standing over the album. "She shouldn't. I'm not going to do what she wants." Grant pressed his thumb into his palm. "She's pulling the kitchen investment. She told you that? This morning. And I can't take the lease without it. I'm sorry. You could fix this with one signature." There it was, clean at last. I looked at the ring on my hand. "If I sign, does she put my name back?" "Yes." "Before or after she gets the photographs?" His silence answered, "Would you marry me if your mother never forgave me? That's not fair, would you? She's my mother. I know. She's been planning this investment for a year. She believes in the business. She believes the money buys her a vote. You don't understand what disappointing her costs. And you don't understand what disappointing me costs because I keep paying it myself." His face folded then, anger giving way to something tired and young. "It was easier," he said. "What was?" "To hurt you." The words were barely audible through the glass door. He looked at me, tears standing in his eyes. "I knew you'd try to understand. With Mom, there's no end to it. If I told her no, she'd pull the money, turn Dad against me, call Paige, bring it up every Sunday for 5 years. With you, I thought we'd fight, and then we'd fix it." "You thought I would fix it?" "Yes." It was the most honest thing he had given me. I slid the ring from my finger. Grant stared at it in my palm. "Don't." "I can understand why you did it and still refuse to marry someone who did. Tess, please. I don't want a marriage where being loved means I'm the safest person to betray." I placed the ring on the small wicker table between us. Through the door, Martin sat down heavily. Evelyn remained standing. Grant touched the ring, but didn't pick it up. "You canceled the venue." I released it. "You already decided." "No, I stopped a deadline from deciding for me." He wiped his face with both hands. "What happens now?" "You move your things out of the townhouse. We settle the lease. You insure your own business. You collect your own invoices." "That's it?" "No, it's going to be a lot of small things. That's what you gave away." When we returned to the living room, Evelyn looked from my bare hand to Grant's face. "What did she do?" Grant laughed, broken and bitter. "You still can't ask what I did." Evelyn went pale. She reached for the release, but Martin put his hand over it. "The investment is from our joint account," he said. "It isn't happening. This is not the time." "It's exactly the time." Grant shook his head. "Keep it." Martin nodded once. Evelyn looked around the room as if everyone had changed seats while she wasn't watching. I signed nothing. Lena delivered the private portraits the following week. She sent each person a password-protected gallery and excluded the false credits, magazine package, and commemorative album. Evelyn paid the overdue event invoice after Martin refused to pay it around her. Paige emailed the Society magazine a correction, withdrawing her own name. Their anniversary ran as a short calendar item with no photographs. Grant moved into a furnished apartment near his kitchen rental. His first invoice reminder arrived 2 weeks late. He called once to ask which cord belonged to the largest warmer, then stopped himself halfway through and said, "I'll figure it out." He did. In November, Lena came to my studio with the final client archive. "There's one extra," she said. It was the photograph she had taken across the ballroom after Evelyn learned about the release. The family sat frozen at the head table, but I was turned slightly away from them, looking toward the exhibit. Lena had cropped it differently. In her version, I stood alone beside the glass frames. Warm light ran along their edges. Behind me, one of my captions was sharp enough to read, and beneath it was the original exhibit card Evelyn had missed when she ordered the reprint. Produced and curated by Tessa Hale. I put the photograph in the glass engagement frame. Grant's thumbprint still marked the corner. I opened the back, removed our picture, and cleaned the glass until it held no trace of either of us. Then I slid Lena's photograph into place and set it beside my studio door, where I could see my own name every time I reached for my keys.